2.
Check 1, 2. Mic check.
Hello. All right, everything seems to be pretty good at this point. You got your book set up.
Yeah.
We got our drinks ready to open. We won't open them quite. Oh man, I just dropped it. Jesus Christ! All right, I'm getting too hype.
Yeah.
Let's fucking do this. Hello and welcome to Start the Beat with Sykes. My name is Sykes and this is my podcast. Before we get started, I just wanted to take a quick moment to thank everyone who checked out the last episode. If you're one of the people who listened to that conversation, I hope you enjoyed it. And thanks so much for coming back. But for those of you out there who are new to the show, welcome. Please feel free to make yourselves at home. And as always, there's beer and soda and spiked seltzer in the fridge. Cheers, my friend, my dude.
Bon and Viv.
Yeah. All right, yeah. I've never had this before.
Down the hatch. This is the grapefruit version. Pretty light.
Yeah.
Little flowery almost.
Yeah. This is nice. This is good. Not sponsored, but Bon and Viv spiked seltzer. Where did you find this?
I think I went to a bar and they were out of White Claw, and so I was like, "Well, do you have anything apparent that's like close to it?" And they were like, "Yeah, we got Bon and Viv." I'm like, "Cool, I'll take it."
Cool. Sounds good.
If I get sponsored, if my band or me personally get sponsored by any seltzer, I'll be stoked. It can be Bon and Viv, it could be White Claw, it could be any of them.
All right. So for those of you out there in internet land that don't know this handsome gentleman that's sitting right next to me, this is my boy, Christian Freeberg. Long time I've known this dude. He's a good dude. He's a musician. He's a singer guy, a songwriter guy, a book making poet type of guy. Lots of things that this guy is doing. But I think you're here today mostly to talk about these books. But we'll talk a little bit about everything. Sure. So Christian Freeberg, make some noise for the internet.
Yo, what up, internet people? How many people do you think are watching this right now?
Right now?
Yeah,
we're
like
not
right
live.
this moment.
We're not live.
So no one's watching.
No one's watching this right now.
Cool. That like takes the pressure off.
Yeah, we are not live, so you don't got to worry about that. Anytime you see anything like on Facebook that's like a live premiere, it's all pre-recorded.
It's all lies.
It's all lies. The internet is all lies. I'm just contributing to the lie of the internet. So, dude, how the fuck have you been?
Good, man. It's always good seeing you. We always see each other like randomly out at like different music events and stuff, and I'm usually hiding in a corner somewhere, just like soaking everything in, and you always come up and say hi. So.
You're probably working on these books.
Yeah, most of my poetry just comes from like in the moment, like something, I'll just like think of something. So it's always like, I'm always in my head about everything. So like it does make for, I think it helps for like writing, the process of writing. Like if you're always thinking about stuff and worried about things, it can be a bad thing, but you can also use that like as creative energy. So that's kind of how I think I like to use it, at least. Yeah,
I've used writing a lot to try to relax whenever I'm like lost in my thoughts and, things are rotating real crazy and there's all this noise. It's like, I need a way to get this out.
Yeah.
So it's just like, but I don't want to talk to anybody.
Yeah.
So I'm so fucking introverted. It's
and there's nothing wrong with people. It's not like I don't like people, but like there's just times where like, I guess sometimes I describe myself as introverted, but I kind of don't like that either because I do like people. Just sometimes it's easier for me to like observe them. I think this is a thing that's been coming up a lot on the show recently. So I apologize for common listeners of the show that I'm getting into this again, but there's this like introverted extrovert thing that I think is just a byproduct of our generation and the internet and how constantly connected we are to everything, even when we don't want to be. Yeah. You know what I mean? If we're, I just want to be alone today. Chances are at some point in time, you're probably going to get on your phone and then all of a sudden you're not alone anymore. Yeah. You're digitally overwhelmed. You're like at the most crowded party on the planet at any given time. Yeah. How are we supposed to keep up? Yeah. It's like you could say like, oh, I'm spending the night in. And then like the whole night you're just on your phone looking at what everyone else is doing. It's like, you're still like trying to be a part of that energy. But it's like this is a funny thing. And I actually never thought about this until just now. But I have those friends that are like, oh, fuck the South Side. I don't want to go down there. It's too crazy. It's too crowded.
fuck Lawrenceville, too crazy, too crowded. And I'm like, but you're just like on your Instagram and your phone all the time. Like that's how the feeling that I get going through like a Facebook timeline is the feeling that maybe somebody might get trying to get from point A to point B on East Carson Street.
Yeah.
It's just like, I have one specific thing that I'm looking for that I want to do. And I have to dodge all these stupid things from all these other people that for some reason I've let into my social life.
Yeah.
You know, that's
point.
just how I feel.
Yeah, I totally buy into that too. And I'm guilty of being the person that's like, fuck Southside, I'm not going to Southside. Just because like all I think about is walking from A to B. I'm just like, dude, there's gonna be people everywhere. Like I'm not gonna be able to get anywhere I want to go. So like I'm definitely guilty of that. But yeah, I mean it's a fair point though. And I don't know, like I think that maybe as you get older, it's like a thing where you just like the commotion and like the noise and all that stuff like just wears on you more, and you feel like you don't want to be around people. But then like when you're by yourself, like I don't know, at least me, like I definitely feel lonely like a lot of the time, but like don't really do anything about it usually. Usually I'm like writing or I'll watch TV or something. But I think it's just like with age, like the idea of going out becomes like exhausting to you. You're just like, oh, I don't know if I can do it tonight. But then you want to be a part of it. You're watching the social media, like, oh, that party looks fun. I wish I was there. But
it's like the getting there and the getting back that's annoying to me.
Yeah.
Like there's like a lot of times where it's like, oh fuck, like I want to go to Noodlehead, and it's like, but we have to park over there.
Yeah.
And it's like I would rather go anywhere else that I could park easier, regardless of how fucking good that place is.
Yeah.
It's just like I just don't want to deal with getting there.
Yeah.
If I could just snap my fingers and be there, I'd be down. Or even like going to like shows that are just like 5-10 minutes away from my house. Sometimes it's like I don't feel like making the journey to get there. I want to be there, but all the extra shit that I have to go through.
Yeah, I do that all the time. There's this one band, Trust. I haven't seen them yet. Shout out to Trust. But I want to see Trust so bad, and they've had so many shows where I'm like all week I'm like, oh, I can't wait. End of the week, I'm gonna go to this Trust show, and then like you get to the end of the week, and like maybe you had a bad day at work, or like who knows, whatever it is, and you're just like, I don't have the capacity to like get there, not tonight, and it's like it feels defeating, but also I think like it also plays into like self-care, like you shouldn't force yourself to do things if you're not in a state to do them.
Sure.
But then there's the other side. It's like I have other friends that say like, oh, I think you should push yourself outside your comfort zone. It's like, yeah, that's also true. It's just like this balancing act.
I think for me, it's like I'm on the go all the time. I'm always going from different parts of the city. I have so many aspects of my life that exist in different corners of the city.
Yeah.
So I'm always moving around, and a lot of the time by the end of the day, like I get home, I make dinner, and then it's like, okay, cool, time to go out to a show. It's just like, I'm just like exhausted.
Yeah.
Just
life is exhausting.
Straight up like exhausted. Yeah. And I know that like I do a lot of stuff, and a lot of people have this assumption that like I don't sleep, but like I'm really good at actually being surprisingly lazy for as much as I get done. But maybe just my definition of lazy is different from other people's. Yeah. But it's important to take care of yourself. It is.
Yeah.
If you're not taking care of yourself, it's going to make everything in your life that you care about suffer.
Yeah.
You know, whether you're in a band or you're writing a book or you're an artist, like you need to take that time away from all that stuff and just focus on you to put yourself in the best place you can be. So for the greater good.
Yeah. After I wrote, I think with each of these books, when I knew I'd gotten to a point where I had the poems that I wanted for the book, I didn't write for like probably like months. Like between these two books, there was like a time for like 2 months where I was just like, I'm just gonna let things happen instead of worrying about, was this thing that happened, was there like poetic value to it, was there some weight to that situation that I could write about? I'm just like, let it happen and then come back to it when I feel like refreshed and stuff. But that's what I love about poetry though. Like it's so you can do it on your own, and it's all based on like the work effort that you put into it. Like because I do have a band, and the band's like another great outlet, but the band is such a collaborative thing, and everyone has to like line up, and everyone has to like have the same like work effort and workforce to do it. But poetry is something that is always gravitated towards because it's such a individual art form to like take a part of.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about, you have 2 books here.
Yeah.
One of them is the newer one, In the Fire, in the Garden.
Yes, this is the book that I just finished this year. I'm taking pre-orders for it right now, but I do a bulk order. I'll do a bulk order at the end of this month. And that's just usually based on like, I don't have a website. I don't have like any social media for it. It's just kind of word of mouth. Like I usually sell the book to friends and family primarily. And then sometimes there's some reach to someone I don't even know, but they like heard about it from their friends. So I just kind of order based on the number of people that are interested in it. But this one I just finished I think it was like the beginning of September. I finished it and it came together real fast. Casey Kovac does the graphic design for it. For this book, he did the graphic design. Also for this one, he did the illustrations as well. And then my friend Tyler, everyone that's like involved with this book are like friends of mine. So it's great. Like we just like talk about the ideas and we like hang out and have drinks and we celebrate the success of the book like together. It's really great. So my friend Tyler Grigorchik, he's training to be a tattoo artist, but he's also a great artist already. So I talked to him about doing the cover and he was just like super stoked to do it. And so he did it quickly. Like it's just so great to work with friends. Like you're just like, hey, I'm thinking about getting this over to Casey so he can start formatting it. Can you like send me your drawing? And then like that day he's like, yeah, dude, I got it. Like drawing's done. I'll send it to you. It's like, oh, can we change the color to this? And Casey's like, yeah, I'll change the color to this. And it just came together really fast compared to the first book. I think me and Casey were like learning how to do it. And there's some illustrations in the first book that were like really detailed that took a while. But this book came together like probably 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's a learning experience.
Yeah.
And you need to go through those processes to learn how to do things. If to do things wrong, learn how to do them right, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
And even with something as probably unintentionally isolating as doing poetry, there's still that power of collaboration and working with other people when it comes to all of the other aspects of like actually, putting it into a book and marketing it and getting it out there and things like that. And the collaboration is always my favorite thing with doing anything creative, whether it's putting out a book or writing a song or even like making dinner, like having somebody else to like help chop the veggies makes it a lot more fun. That's a really
romantic activity as well.
Yeah.
Love making dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
So if Christian is going to make some dinner, what do you have like a thing that you're like, yeah, I fucking slay at this? Or are you just happy to try whatever?
So right now my apartment has if anyone's seen my kitchen, they know it's so small. It's smaller than half this table and it's all behind doors. There's no counter space, but I have perfected, and sorry to my vegan friends, I have perfected my steak.
Okay.
So I can make a really, really good medium rare steak. Like usually do a ribeye, and I like have had conversations with other friends interested in making steak about like the best way to make it, and we like try different methods. And I have a friend, her name's Kato, and she's actually like a really great chef in her own right. So she like gave me some tips on how to make my steak. I'm not gonna give it away, but like I can make a really good ribeye steak, especially if you want like a medium rare.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but that's the only thing I really cook anymore. Like usually I'm just making like salads and chicken and rice. I have a pretty staple diet like through the week. And then on the weekend, I just like go all out. Just go to restaurants, get brunch, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I try to eat healthy. Don't have a lot of counter space, so I can't cook a lot. I can't like have a big like some recipe that calls for a bunch of preparation is not gonna like do well in my kitchen. But I'm your guy for a good ribeye steak.
All right, that's good to know. Good to know. So whenever you have like a big book release party, it needs to be like catered by you in your apartment because I feel like you probably do you think if you got behind a normal stove you'd be able to make a steak anywhere? Or is there something about the environment?
No, I can make a steak
you do make a steak anywhere?
Yeah, definitely. And if people came to my house to make a steak, or if I made them a steak and they came to my house, there would be 2 chairs for people and one recliner. Because me and my roommate, we had this conversation. We were like, yeah, let's get like leather recliners like Joey and Chandler did in Friends. And I pulled mine at the bargain. I got the recliner, but he never got his. So if you walk into my living room, there's just this sad little one recliner in front of this TV and this table, and it looks kind of creepy. It's like, are you sure you have a roommate? Yeah, I have a roommate. Like, why is there only one chair? It's like, oh, he just never bought a chair. It's not a big deal.
He never bought his recliner.
Maybe someday he will.
Get that fucking recliner. Get it.
But my roommate's awesome. So shout out to Andrew. Love Andrew.
Shout outs. So with this book right now, you're taking pre-orders for the book.
Yeah.
$25, you said. Is there a anticipated release date? I know that you mentioned to me that you're going to be doing something at Black Forge.
Yes.
Like a release event sort of thing.
Yes. I don't even know what you'd call it. Book release event sounds good. But I reached out to Ashley. I've been following Ashley for a long time. I know she's like super hard worker and like super passionate about Black Forge. And I was like, in my book, my poems tend to be, I think overarching theme of my books is like a darker mentality, kind of emotions that are a little more taboo. And I think it kind of fits in line with the vibe of that venue itself. And so I just messaged her. Like, I don't know her. I never even talked to her, but I just messaged her. I was like, hey, I would love to just like, I don't know, like set up a table at your place and talk about my book if people want to talk about it or sell it. Or I don't do readings. I think that's a normal thing people do with their books is they read from them. But for me personally, like I don't like reading them out loud. I don't think that's the kind of poetry that I make. And I have a lot of respect for people that do the poetry and they do the spoken word. And I think that's like a great, awesome thing. But for me personally, I don't think that it would be as enthralling as having it in your hands and reading it and letting it like soak in.
That's so interesting because I could see that coming from somebody that maybe doesn't have like a public speaking or performance background, but you do.
Yeah.
So it's definitely not that. It's not like a stage fright thing.
No, definitely not. It's just for me.
If it doesn't feel right, that's just not right. You shouldn't force yourself to do it.
Yeah, I feel like I do modern short poetry, so these aren't very long poems, and it would just, I feel like these are poems that they're meant to just ruminate in your head. Like as you're reading it, my hope is that you're being moved by the words and you're thinking about how you connect to that poem, and it's just kind of yours to read and make your own personal connections to it. And I just don't think it translates well for me to like speak it to people. Yeah,
because you want people to take time with each one. So it's like, okay, I'm going to read this poem that doesn't take a very long time. And then we're all going to sit in this room and think about it together.
Yeah.
And then I'll read the next one.
Yeah.
Like that's not what you want.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. At least for my poetry. I mean, I did do spoken word. How I got into poetry actually is through, I don't know. Do you know William James?
Yeah.
Okay. William James, I went to a punk show and he did his thing. I call it punk rock poetry. I think he's called it that once or twice before, but I think it was like a light bulb went off my head. Like I was just like, oh, I can deliver a vocal performance, and that also is an expression of my writing, and that's what spoken word poetry is. And it can be passionate and it can be like heavy. So I was really into that, and I did it a couple times with him. Like I went to poetry slams that he invited me to, and it's fun and it's cool and I really liked it. But I think that there's some part of me that when I felt like I was performing the poetry, it just felt a little, I don't know, it felt to me like I was forcing emotions that weren't really there. Like I think that spoken word poetry is a really great art form, but for me personally, in the poems that I write, I don't ever want to like fake the emotions behind it just so that it delivers well.
Yeah, like for the sake of performance.
For the sake of performance. Yeah. For entertainment. To score points, whatever they do at the slams, which is, I know slam on slams, but it is on purpose. Okay. No slams on slams. They're great. From my poetry though,
it's just not your thing.
Yeah. I think I'm realizing that like I'm a pretty, I don't know. I think I maybe take myself too seriously, but at least when it comes to poetry, like I just love that I can just write it down, hand it to someone. At one time I was at a party, and it was all of my really close friends, and they all had bought books because they're all being super supportive, and we were drinking and we were playing Palace, and someone said like, oh, whoever loses Palace, or if they won, anyways, it ended up that my friend had to read my book front to back out loud. And as she read it, she started tearing up, and like and it made it really like, I was like, oh, that wasn't the point. It was supposed to be like a haha, this is funny, you have to read this front to back. But she like got like choked up as she was reading it, and I was just like, that's cool. That made me feel good. It made me feel like what I'm doing with writing is right and is like, I don't know, not helping people, but it's something people attach.
You're able to make a connection.
Yeah, that's all it's about, making that connection.
I think that's the most important thing in a lot of art. It's real easy as an artist to overlook that and create things from an unintentionally or sometimes intentional just place of selfishness.
Yeah.
But I think having that awareness that, okay, once this is done, you want other people to engage with this, right? Mm-hmm. So what are you doing to initiate the conversation? Because music or poetry, it's conversation with the listener.
Yeah.
So what are you doing to start that conversation and keep that conversation going?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how can you connect the dots to something in a complete stranger's head, or somebody, they may even be a friend, but they're not expecting to interact with this thing that you're putting in their lap.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how can you connect with them? So the way that they're conversating back is they're connecting it to things that have happened in their life and their own experiences. So they want to continue to engage with it. And I don't know, that's a tricky thing to do, but it's very possible. That's the whole reason why I fell in love with a lot of the music that I did, is because it was able to do that.
Yeah.
It was able to connect with me on a deeper level. I remember, this is mildly embarrassing, but it's not really embarrassing. It's just, going to sound really silly when I say it out loud. But I remember the first time that I connected with a song or an album or a band in an emotional way.
Yeah.
I was in 8th grade and I was having an argument with a girl that I was dating. And I remember listening to Stain's album Dysfunction. And there was a part on just Aaron Lewis or whatever that dude's name is, just beating himself up, the way that he does.
Yeah.
And I remember like connecting with this. I remember feeling like, you know what? This is how I feel right now.
Yeah.
So anytime I think about like the way that you can connect with music, it's like, for better or worse, Stained always comes in my head as a band that, it connected with me. But hey, I'm a product of the new metal generation.
Same, yeah.
1985, I was born. In 2000 2000, I was 15 years old. Give me a break, bro. Of course Stained was my shit. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Linkin Park, System of a Down.
Oh, yeah.
Linkin Park, I remember my dad got me when CDs were still being like bought and purchased. Like my dad did a stocking stuffer of I'm not embarrassed. What's the first Linkin Park album
Hybrid
called?
Theory.
Thank you. God.
I still defend that shit to this day.
I'm
it's
glad
a fucking fantastic record.
If you ask any of my close friends, does Christian say that Hybrid Theory is one of the top 10 albums of all time? They will tell you that yes, he does. And then you're like, wait, is he serious? And they'll be like, yeah, he's serious. I think it's one of the top 10 albums of all time.
It's a great fucking record on so many different levels.
They were doing something that no one else was doing at a level that we didn't understand would be as good as it could ever be.
Like the songwriting is really clutch.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could, like, that's the thing is, okay, cool. It's like this weird rap, metal, hip hop thing, that's all mixed together. But you could take any song off that fucking album and play it on piano and just sing the melody. Like they're all like really well structured melodies, chords, rhythm, progression songs.
Mm-hmm. And then you pull the lyrics and it's like, is that a metal song or is that an emo song?
Yeah, no, like really, really emotive, super, super easy to connect with, but really well written songs. The production on the album was out of this world for the time. It really like changed a lot of shit.
Yeah.
And I fucking love that album to death.
Me too.
It's a fantastic record.
Yeah. That was one of the first bands I was on a date once with this girl and I said something to the effect of like, oh yeah, like Linkin Park was like the first band that made me feel like it was okay to be like a sensitive young man, to be like a teenager who was like sensitive and in touch with his feelings. And I think the bartender laughed too, because he probably thought it was like some kind of line I was like throwing at her, but I was just like opening up to her about like who I am as a person. And but I but I swear by I was like, oh man, like this guy is writing about like really sad stuff and he sounds really lonely, and I was like, that's how I feel, and I just didn't know that men were allowed to express themselves like that. So like kudos to Chester, man. Like he opened my eyes for sure.
Yeah, no, they were a fantastic band. And yeah, definitely. I think that most of the time, people that I know, like of our age demographic, most of them that were like actually listen to that album get it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I feel there's a lot of people that, just kind of always wrote that band off, which is fine.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, it's like for some reason, Linkin Park is a bit of like a meme of sorts.
It is. Yeah. There's this stigma of like Linkin Park being like, yeah, it's like the butt of a joke sometimes. But I think mostly in a loving way.
Yeah.
But yeah, there definitely is this like stigma of like, oh, Linkin Park. Yeah. Like,
but I mean, but yeah, they were a fucking great band.
Yeah,
and there was so much good music that came out in that time period. I mean, you mentioned System of a Down. It's hard to argue how insanely talented that band is. And again, like on like I never even like being like 15 years old and learning about prison reform unintentionally thanks to System of a Down.
Yeah.
Like there's like they were very air quote woke, I suppose. But
They were.
They put it in this nice package that really got a lot of young kids thinking and interested in political things.
Yeah, I wrote a paper on the Armenian genocide because of Pluck. Like, if I had never heard that song Pluck, like I would have no idea that even happened. And I mean, and that's part of like the part what they talk about is that like that Armenian genocide say it never happened, and that's why no one ever hears about it. And because I listened to System of a Down, I got a history lesson in one of the biggest atrocities against humankind we've ever seen. But yeah, there's like definitely these like moments with bands that just stick with you like forever. You're just like, oh man, I remember hearing something political from a band and being like, oh, I should start thinking about political things. I should be aware of what's happened in the past and in the history.
Yeah. Not everything from that era was Limp Bizkit.
No.
But even Limp Bizkit was kind of tight. They had their moments. They had their fun songs.
When we were
like,
go ahead.
We'll say this, like System of a Down, Linkin Park, they were like textbooks of sorts.
Yeah.
Say if the school of new metal.
Yeah.
All right.
The great.
I never thought about this before, so this is another hot take. The school of new metal, right? You had okay, we'll say this. System of a Down were the textbooks that you should have read.
Yep.
Linkin Park was like the good friend that you should have had that's able to talk you through your problems.
Yep.
Limp Bizkit was like the pretzel that you ate at lunch. Like it's tight, I'm happy it's there, but it's not like really contributing a whole lot to my day.
Yeah.
And then you had like Slipknot, who were like, they were kind of the bullies, but like they're also like sweethearts once you get to know them.
Yeah. They definitely were. I mean, that's a really good analogy. Great job.
I could probably keep going.
Yeah,
I could keep going.
By all means.
The only other band that I want to bring up from that era, who I think a lot of people get it, but they're a band that has also been pretty misunderstood and misrepresented, but Deftones.
Oh,
Dude,
yeah.
insane.
They don't get their just deserves.
Insane.
But the people that get it give them their just deserves. Like, no, Deftones was like on another level, man. Like, I remember I think Change. Is it called Change?
Yeah.
Parentheses Fly on a Wall, or is this Change?
Change in the House of Flies.
Change in the House of Flies.
Yeah.
I think that's the first Deftones songs I heard. And I was like, Deftones song I heard. And I was like blown away. I was like, this is so creepy and heavy and beautiful, and it's all at once. Like, he's doing it all. Yeah, that's definitely a band deserving enough credit, I think.
With now you playing in a band, I know you're here to talk about the books, but let's talk about the band real quick.
Sure, yeah.
So what's going on with this music thing that you're doing these days?
So our band's called Bouquets or Bouquets or Bouquets or Bouquets, whatever you want to say. We still don't know. I looked it up, and it's still like, it just depends on where you live. Like if you say Bouquets or Bouquets. But anyways.
I think I say, now that you said all that shit, I can't give you the genuine answer to how I would say it, but I think probably Bouquets is probably how I would say it.
I think I would say Bouquets as well, but ever since we started the band, I've been saying Bouquets. Because when I first came up with the band and I was like making our Instagram for it, I put a pronunciation of it because it was the first one I saw. I didn't realize that there was such like an argument about which way to pronounce it based on the part of the world you're in. And so I was just like, okay, it's Bouquets.
Tomorrow or tomorrow?
Yeah. Who fucking knows? But yeah, so that band came together. I had an idea. I was really into this band called Nothing. Still am. They're not great people, but they make great music. And it was kind of the combination of adding shoegaze elements to heavier, grungier rock music, and keeping the vocals very like low key, subtle, quiet. And I've always struggled with my confidence in my voice. And I thought that when I listened to that, I was like, oh man, here's a guy he's not a great singer, but he's delivering vocals in this really great way. And the production that they're using and the vocal effects that they're using plays into the style of music that they're playing. Like shoegaze sounds dreamy and spacey, and there's lots of reverb and lots of layers to it, and that makes it what it is. And so I was just like, I think I could do that. I think I could be a singer in a shoegaze band. And that's the idea. And then I just reached out through Facebook. I was like, and I did this every year. I'd be like, hey, I don't have any instruments or gear, and I'm not a great guitar player, but does anyone want to start a band? Which is like not a great thing to offer people when you want to start a band. But luckily, these three gentlemen were the first people that asked me that they were interested, and then they're in the band. And it's Warren. He plays bass, and I knew him because he's sound engineer at Spirit, and I was hosting bingo at the time.
Shout outs to Warren.
Warren,
a good dude. We like you.
Yeah, Warren's great. And then a regular at bingo, his name's Clark. He reached out. He's like, "Yo, I'll do drums." Like, it was just like a simple message. He's like, "I'll do drums," and I didn't even know he played drums because he was just a regular that came to bingo when I hosted. And then my friend Ryan, who I've known for a little bit, Ryan Thompson, because I was doing solo acoustic stuff when I was younger, and we did a house show together at his house, it was his friend's house, his friend Eddie's house, and I had done a house show here in Pittsburgh, and he was doing comedy, and he did a comedy set during that house show, and we just always like kept in touch, like similar music taste, similar philosophies on whatever is happening in the world, and we just kind of kept in touch. And I saw him at the gym one day. We went to the same gym, and he was really eager to get started. He already had like guitar parts written that like fit in the vein of what we were trying to do, which is like elements of shoegaze with heavier, grungier music. So we've been doing it. Probably not like maybe 5 shows, maybe 6 shows, I forget. But it's been awesome. I love it. It's also very difficult to get us all together because we all full-time jobs, and it's hard for us to get together. It's just been slow to like get to a point of playing, but now we are playing shows, and we have a record, EP that we're partially recorded. We're trying to finish it before the year, hopefully. Our next show is November 5th at Howlers with Fortune Teller, which I'm really excited about.
Cool.
It's a 2-piece band, and they're like really heavy, really fuzzy. I just think we're going to have a really good show that night. And then this band called Mustermind from New York, I think from Brooklyn. They're the ones that reach out to us to set it up. So we have a show in November, but probably not many shows besides that, because we really want to focus on getting this EP recorded. Yeah,
I was earlier today. My friend Erica from the band Working Breed was here, and we were chatting about this, and I'm going to talk about it again with you to get your perspective on it. Just how long it takes to do things when you're on this underground level. You know, when you're, especially if you're older, if everybody in your band's in their late 20s, 30s, and okay, we all have full-time jobs. We want to do this band, but we have, jobs, family. Some people are still in school, other things. Some people were in other bands. And, okay, so the concept of like an album taking 3.5 years to make, it sounds crazy on the surface. And a lot of times you get people that are fans or friends that are like, why is this taking so long? And it makes you feel bad. But it's at the same time, it's like, okay, at the most, we probably have a couple hours a week that we're even able to get together to do anything.
Right.
And it just takes so much fucking time. So anytime a band actually puts together like a full album of material, even if it's something that I don't necessarily gravitate towards personally, I can't help but respect any like underground band that can go through the ringer of writing songs, recording them, putting out physical product, doing all the promotion for it, even with something like these books. Like there's so much effort that goes into it, and like it really shouldn't be ignored, because it's not like this thing where you just snap your fucking fingers and there's an album that's done. It takes so much fucking time and so much just like patience and compromise and persistence.
Yeah. And especially
crazy.
when you have, I mean, when you have a band, there's multiple people in our band is 4 people. Like you are getting things done while every individual person is dealing with everything else in their life that takes priority and should over a project or a band. Like I think, you know, we all have family, we all have friends, we all have other passions we want to pursue. And I think when you're at an underground level, like no one's doing this because we're getting paid a lot of money, or no one's doing it because we just have all this extra time. It's like, no, the passion comes with like the sacrifice and the time that you put aside to go to practice and to play the shows, and to the money you invest in the things that you hope people will like. And maybe you'll get your money back, maybe you won't, but yeah, it definitely, and then you do feel that pressure on yourself to like get something done. Like you're like, oh, like our record should be done by now. But then you just take a step back and you're like, we're kind of just doing this for ourselves. Like this is our project. Like when it gets done, like we want it to be the best thing it can be. And there's no need to rush that. There's no one is saying like, hey, here's your deadline. The deadline is what we put on ourselves. And I think that when I take a step back away from that, and putting the pressure on myself to be like, oh, we should have a record out by now. It's like, when it's done, it will be done and it'll be great. And we'll show our friends and we'll play a show and it will be great. And if it takes a little longer than we thought, then that's fine. That's at least how I've been dealing with it. Cause I think that I just speaking for myself, like I put a lot of pressure and deadlines on myself that don't exist. There's no deadlines. I just think there is in my head.
I've been very unnecessarily guilty of that.
Yeah.
It happens more frequently than not, and I'm trying to get better at managing that and not being so fucking stressed out over all the time, like over like, okay, like my podcast is coming out late. Like, okay.
Yeah.
You know, like sure, there's people that listen to this shit, but it's okay if it comes out tomorrow, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's like, how many people actually listen to it right when it comes out? Some people might not even be checking for it until a couple days later anyways. Everybody has other shit going on.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm fucking saving somebody's life or, you know, taking someone's kid to school or do it. You know, it's whatever. This is just like selfish little things that I do. Yeah. You know, so I just
and
love doing it.
There are things we're passionate about, and they're life giving and to us, you know, and I think like the value that you hold in art is just as important as the value you hold in anything else. But definitely like I was talking to someone about this the other day and I was like, I don't want to bring bullshit into the beautiful things. Like I don't want to.
That's a really good way. That's interesting.
I do the beautiful things to deal with the bullshit. I never want to bring the terrible stuff into the beautiful stuff. I don't. And it happens, like sometimes out of your control, but like I, at least just from like a personal mental perspective, like I try not to let the negative stuff come into why I love writing poetry. Sometimes I think there's a poem in this book specifically about a moment. I'm not going to put anyone on blast or anything, but like there's this moment in my life where I unfortunately, because social media exists and it's like just ever present in our lives, I saw a video that someone had posted of a poem that I had written. So I wrote this poem for someone. It was like for them, and I saw a video from the friend of that person, and it was a video of them reading my poem, but like in a mocking way. They were they were like mocking the earnestness of the poem. And like I'm not even gonna, like it stung. Like I for like a week I was like I used to post snippets of my poems on Instagram. Like I stopped doing that and I went private, and I was just like, it just like got in my head. I was like, like someone could use my art to make me feel bad about myself. That fucking sucks.
That's fucking crazy.
But I got over. I mean, but like the way I got over it is just I wrote a poem about it. I wrote a poem about that feeling.
Read this, motherfucker.
That's kind of what it felt like. It was just like like that's. I feel so strongly about what you just did. I'm gonna write about it. But yeah. I mean, like you can get so caught up in the negative things about life, and when that affects like the art, like I just take a step back. I'm like, whoa, like I love fucking writing poetry. I love it. I think it's good. I think I write good poetry, And if someone wants to make fun of it, then it's not that it's not that I think that my poetry is worthy of being made fun of. It's just I think that person isn't someone that I need to concern myself with.
Sure.
They obviously don't understand where it's coming from, and that's fine. They don't have to, but I don't have to beat myself up just because they didn't. They felt like it was something that was like worthy of being mocked.
I love the idea that like even, I mean, I don't know exactly how old you are, but I would say late 20s.
30.
30? You're
Yeah,
30?
Yeah.
Congrats. I'm turning 34 in a few weeks, so don't worry much
Oh, you
about
look
it.
great for 34.
Thank you.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I've known you a long time. I didn't know you were 34.
We're up there.
Yeah.
We're up there.
Old
But
boys.
I love the idea that even in our 30s we could still get bullied in some way.
Yeah, like my feelings were hurt.
It makes me like, if anybody were to like try to do anything like that to me, it would just like, I might be, it would sting.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'd be like, how old are we?
Yeah.
Like what is it about your life that you have nothing else better to do than to do this?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It was like I think it was a good thing that happened because it was just like a way of testing. I don't know where I'm going with this. I think it's good that happened for me to see someone make fun of my poetry. It's always in the back of my head that I'm writing poetry and that I could be the butt of a joke at any time, because I think there is like, it's totally invalid, but I think there is a stigma about just poetry in itself, that it's like overly sensitive, and that people that write poetry are overly sensitive, and that it's like it can be like something that you're made fun of because you like poetry or you write poetry.
Well, dude, it's like, I mean, with something like this, with something like these books, like this is like the literary equivalent of you just like taking off all of your clothes and being naked and just walking into public. Like here's everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, here it goes.
Yeah.
You know, you can admire it, you can laugh at it, you can think this is disgusting, all of these things right here.
Yeah.
Because it's not masked with like guitars or a sick backbeat or like cool effects or anything like that. You're really putting yourself out there. So there's a lot to respect about that. But also an unfortunate side effect is it makes it really easy to target and kind of pull apart.
Right. Yeah.
If anybody has that sort of like malice in them to want to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that for me, I don't know, like I think poetry came to me because I wanted to be, I was a singer and I wanted to sing in bands, but I didn't have the resources. I didn't have the people around me to like get the band. So I just kept writing. Like writing is like the base of everything I've done with music. It's always been about, I have all these things I want to say, and I also like playing guitar. And so like it just extends to the poetry. Like you think about writing songs, it is like giving a part of yourself. But like you said, it's also kind of masked in this entertainment value, everything else that's happening. But then when you're left with just the words, you really are, it's just, you're having these like really private conversations that weren't meant to be heard out loud, or they were meant to be heard with like guitars behind it, and it's like fun, or it's dark, or whatever it is. But like sometimes I write something and it's like, and there's definitely poems I've written that I haven't like shown people, or there's poems that I write, I'm like, I hope they don't see it. But I like that about it. I like that it forces me to have these conversations, whether with myself or the reader, that are easier for me to write about than for me to like actually like come out and say myself. It gives me that window and that avenue to express those feelings, because there's a lot of stuff. I mean, most of my stuff I write about, I say, comes from more intense emotions. Like I usually don't write a poem because I feel content about something. Usually there's some sort of push and pull that's happening, or there's something that happens that has more weight to it than just what happened. And I'm digging through that to find the poetic value of that. But that's just like kind of my thoughts on, being a poet and accepting that I'm someone that claims that title as a poet, and some people will get it and some people won't. And at this point, I'm just like, I don't really care anymore, because I just love doing it.
You can't care, especially if it's something that you care about.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, like there's people that think that, like, being in a band is silly.
Yeah.
Or having a podcast. Like, why would you have a podcast now? Everyone has a podcast. Like, I've been doing this for 5 years, motherfucker. You see that vein in my neck when I did that? I can't even get it to come back because I'm not. That was like a genuine anger.
No, I see from here though. Nice.
Jesus Christ.
Congrats.
But no, I've been.
Here's the vein.
Congrats.
That was a good vein.
I'm going to tell you this. I wish this wasn't empty because this has to be one of the best spiked seltzers I've ever had.
Bon and Biv.
This was fantastic. I've had
90 calories.
I've had I've had the White Claws, I've had the Trulies, and they're both good in their own right, but I've definitely had grapefruits from I don't know which one. I really like the mango White Claw.
The mango White Claw is up there.
I think that I've had I think Truly does a grapefruit.
Yeah. Well,
I can't remember.
I don't know.
But I remember I had a grapefruit from one of those other brands and it tasted way more chemically than this.
Yeah. I think they taste,
Like,
some of them taste watery.
Yeah, this had like a really good natural flavor, as it says, naturally flavored. Again, I'm not sponsored by these motherfuckers. I'm just
not yet. Bon and Biv.
It was delicious. I'm gonna try to find some of this.
I'm glad, man. I had so like the past 2 days I've been hanging out with this girl and it's been amazing. Shout out to my baby. And like we got a 6-pack of them. And I was gonna, before I came to the podcast, I was like, oh, I gotta get another 6-pack. And I was like, there's 2 of these guys left and these are really good. So I'm glad you like it because it's all I had. But I think it's really good. I really like spiked seltzer in general. I know it's like a fad and it'll probably pass like someday, but I'll
tell you this. So I totally understand the stigma and the how easy it is to target something like a spiked seltzer. It's almost like a being a poet or something. You know what I mean? Like it's like the overly sensitive alcoholic beverage, right?
Yes.
But see, my perspective is I'm somebody, okay, so if I go out and I'm in a social situation, this is fucking perfect because drinking a lot of beer is bad for me because I'm trying to watch my weight. I'm trying to watch what I'm eating. And, but I also don't want to like spend a bunch of money on like cocktails or just like liquor. And my body does not react well to liquor. There's something with like all the extra sugar and stuff that's in it. Even a lot of beer just fucks with me because I try to stay away from that stuff. So whenever I have it, my body's like, what are you doing to yourself? And like it's just like on top of being like drunk, I'm putting all this other shit that's not the alcohol part into my body that's normally not in it. So these work really well because if I'm in a social situation, I have like this like anxiety thing where I always need to be drinking, but I don't want to drink just like fucking normal water, and I don't want to drink like soda or something because that's all fucking garbage. So this like meets the right mark because also, dare I say, I don't mind having a little buzz when I'm out and about. It's nice. So this really checks all the boxes for me in terms of like, okay, it's not terrible for me. It's not overly sugary. I can drink a few of them. Not going to feel super bloated. I don't have to feel bad about eating dinner. And I get a little buzz.
A little bit.
So I fully endorse this spiked seltzer thing. And if anybody, anytime, there's always people that are like, they'll call you out on some shit. And I'm like, well, it's a good thing I didn't buy one for you, motherfucker.
Yeah. No,
it's like, oh, what? You're upset that I'm drinking this? What the fuck? Were you going to ask me for a sip?
Yeah,
were you going to lick the rim of my glass?
Or something? Yeah.
Yeah, like, what the fuck does it matter to you?
Yeah. I got it at a bar once, and I'm not going to say which bar, but I got it at a bar once, a normal bar, and the bartender looked at me like disappointed that I ordered it. It was so weird. And then he poured it into a glass, I think just to spite me. Like, he's just like, well, you just give me the can, man. Like, I'll drink out of the can. I got no shame. I like the cans, but I love it. I'm like you. I don't like I don't drink beer anymore. It's too filling, too many calories. It doesn't get you that drunk unless you're doing like a really quality beer and then you're paying a lot of money for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, spiked seltzer is great. I think it's a great thing.
Yeah.
For people.
I mean, I love beer, but I just can't deny the fact that whenever I started liking a lot of beer and, 4 years later, I'm up 2 shirt sizes. This motherfucker used to wear a medium, and then all of a sudden I'm wearing extra larges, and then the extra larges were starting to get a little tight. I was like, what the fuck? I'm back down to a large. Shout outs to me. Just saying. I still drink more beer than I should, to be completely honest, but I'm working on it. A lot of it just has to do with, just paying attention to what you're putting into your body aside from beer. It's like foods and diets and when you're eating, there's so much. I'm not going to get into a diet conversation because I don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm not a fucking dietitian. I just know that if something seems like not a great idea, should probably stay away from it.
That's a good way to go through life.
And this comes from somebody that loves shitty food. Mozzarella sticks?
Hey.
God damn.
Did you see the meme that's going around where it's like it's like a advertisement for Twix, but it's Italian Twix, and it's just
I haven't seen it.
It's just mozzarella sticks.
Hell yeah. I fucking love that. Oh, dude. That is fucking sick, dude. I need to see that. Now that you fucking said that, I'm gonna see that shit. Because, either
Facebook heard it. Facebook heard me say it. On your phone, it heard me say it.
Yeah, it's somehow. Right here. It's close enough. It's close enough. So when I open this phone, when I open you, I want to see the Italian Twix meme.
It's pretty good. I laughed. I chuckled. I've seen a lot of memes in the past few days because I don't know. I just I have this one group text with two of my friends, and all we do is send memes to each other. And we must have had a lot of free time on our hands because we just sent a ton of memes to each other.
That's some nice adult shit, though, to be able to do that.
Yeah, it's great.
Hell yeah.
It's called, our group chat's called Dem Boys. It's pretty good.
Okay.
So the new thing we have memes, and then we also do point of view. So we do boys' point of view, and the rule is that someone initiates it in the group text, and then everyone in the group text has to send a exact picture of what they're looking at in that moment right then. It could be, so whatever you're doing, you have to take a picture of what you see and send it to the group chat, no matter what we said.
Have you seen some crazy shit?
Not yet. I saw someone was in the bathroom once, and I don't know, one of my friends was he was painting at a paint night for tattoo artists. That's not really crazy, but it was interesting. Not a point of view you see a lot.
Okay.
I'm sure it will get more interesting as we go, though. We have to call it out more, though. It's in its testing phases right now to see if people actually stick to it. Because it's not going to be funny unless people really commit to it. And in that moment, when they get the text, they're doing their point of view, no matter what. I don't care if you're arguing with your girlfriend. You're taking a picture and you're sending it to the group text.
Oh man.
But yeah, I know.
But
it'd be funny.
Yeah.
Or I don't know, it's just kind of dark, but wouldn't it be funny if you do that and then someone's at a funeral and they're just
oh no, yeah.
It's just church pews and people all wearing black.
Sure.
I just think it'd be really funny.
So before we wrap this whole thing up, we're approaching our hour here.
Yeah.
Got these books.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell people where they can acquire these things? And is there a date set for the Black Forge thing?
There's no date set for the Black Forge thing. Sorry, you did ask me that earlier. But we're shooting for November. Maybe the second week of November. I will promote that. There'll be promotion around it. I'll handle that.
And you're just going to probably do that through your personal channels? You don't have a poetry Instagram, I guess?
No, not yet. Maybe I should do that. But I don't yet. I just have, if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's Xtian with an Xtin .bouquets or Xtian.James.bouquets. But the book I'm just selling through, you can all of the apps like Venmo, Zelle, Google Pay. I have Square if you're in Pittsburgh and we know each other and you want to pay debit or credit. Cash is fine as well. But it's just kind of however you want to pay for it is fine. I'll make it work. But most people just kind of message me. It's all friends and family. So
yeah.
But $25 for pre-order, and then I will have bulk order of the book to sell at Black Forge. Details coming about that. And you can come to Black Forge and buy it if you want to. No other plans to sell other than that. It just makes it easy for me. I just keep things simple.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it. With all of the technologies and internets and things that we have nowadays, it's not that complicated.
Yeah. You
could do everything pretty simply.
Yeah.
Just from the comfort of wherever you are sitting or laying or standing
and all of the apps I use for merch and stuff, it's just my name. It's just at Christian Freeberg. $ Christian Freeberg. It's great.
Hell yeah. So I don't know. Anything else? Where can people find Bouquets?
We have an Instagram, Bouquets at Bouquets PGH. We're on Facebook. We're not on Spotify, but there is a band called Bouquets. on Spotify. So you can check them out if you want, but it's not us. It was really funny. We got booked for a show and they were like, we have different theories in the band. My theory is that it was a booker or is a booking agent that had a template email that they sent out to bands, but it said like, hey, saw your music, really liked you guys, wonder if you want to play the show. We have no music out there, and we got that email and we were like, either they think we're the Bouquets they saw on Spotify, or it's just some kind of blanket email that they're sending out to all the local bands. But,
sure.
Yeah, at Bouquets PGH, Facebook. We'll have a record soon, hopefully by the end of the year, and I don't know what we'll do with it, but probably like Bandcamp or Spotify, something like that.
Yeah.
But like I hope that if they want to see a band, they come see us live. I think we're a band to see live.
As all bands should be.
Yeah, absolutely. I like to think of Bouquets as more of a experience-based band. It's a lot of it's heavy and it's a lot of emotions and it's a lot of fun. And I think live we have a lot of fun. So.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, that's it for me. I'm going to do my outro and then we'll... Hell yeah, perfect timing. And that is all, folks. Thanks so much for listening. Christian, one more time. I mean, this is empty. That's crushed, but we can still cheers on that shit. I'll be back again in a few days. Same time, same place, same channel. You know the drill. My name is Sykes. Start the Beat 2019.